here's my starting point for today. I'm going to go back and move this thing over. I didn't really realize, well, I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. When I put that together, I was like, oh, it's going to have an upright right there. But I'm going to try to run this intercooler for now. So I'm going to just basically move that thing out and then make an angle and then an upright, kind of similar to the second gen setup. Because I put it all out this side, so I only had to cut off one side. And then so I'm just going to move it over to the left. Anyway, here's what I got. This is the reason I wanted to do this. Okay, so no mechanical fan. This is just sitting here, so it's nothing supporting it to where it actually is going to be. But you can see down there maybe. Well, anyway, you probably can't see. But this is above the power steering box. The radiator is. So only the intercooler is sticking out in front of the power steering box. So basically when I had that 4th gen setup on here, the fan was sticking out as far as this radiator. 4th gen radiator was about here. Then that cross member, and then the intercooler, and then the transmission and AC condenser. So this is gonna gain me quite a bit of space. I got my electric fans, they came in. They are a little different than I had hoped. They're thicker for one. So that's almost like 1 3/4 on this section of it. And then anyway, this is like the one I had on the orange truck, so it's only like 1.5 inches. So I guess that's not that big of a difference. But I don't know, hopefully those are gonna be good enough. I do think that I'm gonna have to lengthen the front end. I went upstairs and got my box of 2nd gen garbage. So hopefully I can use these boots, maybe sections of this. I can use these clamps because I know one of them, when I drug this frame outside and pressure washed it, one of those clamps fell off and got ran over by something, so it was all squished up. So anyway, there's backups. 12 valve stuff, 4 valve stuff, 2nd gen garbage. I thought I had some other news. I don't even remember. I put a bunch of jugs in the back of that truck. I had a whole bunch of milk jugs up there. So I'm gonna fill those up with water and go put 30-06 size holes in them next weekend when I go down to my brother's house. He's got 40 or 50 acres on Lake Cumberland. So that's the plan. Let me show you an update here. I put this on and I'm using my piece I made for the 4th gen, and I had to cut out a notch for the intercooler, and I'm gonna have to extend my my mount. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's on the table over there. I'm welding an extension to it, and then it's gonna be out just a hair further, and I'll bolt that tight. And once that's tight, I'll make the brackets that go to these, because this is kind of leaning because nothing's really supporting it right now. And then onto this side. So it is Sunday morning at like 5 a.m. or so. I could not sleep at all. Guess it's just the night shift in me. Anyway, last night, I went to reload this thing, and then this is flux core. And I bought that, and I did not realize that that was flux core. And also, it's got like a giant center of it, and so it doesn't fit this little bitty spool thing. So anyway, it wouldn't have worked even if I wanted it to. So I just, we got the dirt bike out last night. The dude that had that 4-wheeler came over. He brought those plastics back. I guess he painted them, and a handful of parts and some oil or whatever. The dude that had this before did round off the drain plug. So that was another thing that I was supposed to take care of on this, is get the freaking drain plug out. And I said, well, bring me some oil. So now that's there. We got fresh 2-stroke gas mixed up because I rode this until it was out of gas a few weeks ago. Anyway, I was like, man, I can't do nothing today. I'm gonna have to drive all the way to Lowe's, which is like 45 minutes away, to get some freaking weld wire. And then so I was just laying there not able to sleep. And then I was like, wait a freaking minute. I commandeered Dad's welder to do the cab mounts. And then I haven't even welded the cab mounts on yet. Well, I mean, they're tack welded in place, but so right there, we're gonna use the big old heavy duty welder and get right back at this core support. All right, here's 10 a.m. update. So I cut up this cross member. So I cut up both of them, actually. This is one out of that red front end is all twisted. So I was like, screw that thing. And then I took the one out of the blue front end, this truck, and hacked it up. And I was trying to figure out how to join the top of these two core supports. So that way because right now they're just kind of floppy. The only thing holding them up is what's sitting on the tire. You know, there's nothing holding them up across the top yet. So I was gonna use that Chevy piece. So that way my front end bolts to it and those little valence things under the hood. But that, where it's at, is too far back. So I had the front end sitting there. And basically this is gonna be out here somewhere. So I think I'm just gonna take this and get it out of the way for now and build my own cross member for this thing and go across the top and hold this radiator in place. I was trying to figure that out earlier. I had the box tube, the 2-inch box tube sitting there, and I was gonna use it somehow. So I guess that'll probably be fine, you know. Get this out of the way. I mean, this will get used, but it's gonna get used somewhere more towards the front, where the front end of the truck is and the valences and whatnot, where it's needed. So I may not even have to lean this radiator as much as it's leaning right now. I was trying to do that to save space, because how the engine is, that's parallel with the plane of the engine there. Yeah, by the end of today, I do plan on pulling this thing out into the driveway for the first time under its own power. And that'll give me a chance to clean this garage, because it is freaking disgusting. I got scrap metal and the horns out of the C60s and the valence and junk laying literally everywhere. All right, well, here's the first draft. I think this was a pretty cool idea. It's not perfectly square, like it's kind of rounded. You know, I think what I need to do maybe is try to bend one of these in the press. See if I can do that. Which I don't have any very heavy duty angle iron, but maybe if I overlap a handful of 1/8 inch pieces of angle iron and make a corner for the press, that might work. I might try to build one of those here in a minute. But just doing this with a vise, I mean, it's in the right shape at least. It's just kind of rounded looking. So, I mean, it fits. I mean, obviously I'll beat the heck out of it with a hammer before I weld it and bolt it. So I'm thinking probably weld this side, and I'll have this seam welded shut too. So that way, 2 bolts in this side, that way it lifts up and it's removable. And that's why I did this fancy joint here and this nice little welded angle. So that way this is all removable, because I fully expect this piece of Chinese garbage here to break before too long. And then I think I'll add something going up right there too, maybe. Or at least to this, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Figure something out. But I'm glad I did that. That looks good, and it's gonna be very, very sturdy, because this is 14 gauge box tube and that's 1/8 inch steel. Also, the front of this is stretched roughly 4 inches. I just have, I mean, this is the 8 inches, and I cut, obviously this 4 inches is visible, and then the other 4 inches is like kind of stuffed in behind it. and I can't move it at all because it's basically clamped. I don't know. There's not a clamp on this part, but it's under it, and it is tight, so I can't really slide it in and out. I don't think the angle is perfect. I think the front tilts forward just a hair more. I don't know. I'll get to that. That doesn't even matter at all right now. I mean, this is just kind of sitting there because I put it there, but I'm still working on this. This worked out pretty good, I'd say, you know. Got the piece that goes over it, and I took it off so that way I could measure. I cut this new one, cut this wedge out of it, and then I'll have to trim that end up a hair to get this to fit that side. And I freaking hacked this apart so many different times that this is shorter than that side, so I'll have to shorten it some too to get it to where it needs to be. Well, this is an exciting day, without a doubt. This is the first time she's pulled out of the garage under her own power, now that she is a 6.7 Cummins. So, pretty exciting. Pretty freaking exciting. Got a whole lot to do. Don't have a radiator connected. Don't have this intercooler connected. Got them all mounted up earlier, so I didn't even weld that all the way yet. I still need more bolts for this. Oh, I think I figured out what I'm gonna do for my battery tray. I kept these plastic ones for the 4th gen, and you know, I thought about using them, but this ain't gonna work very well. They were designed to have 2 pieces of metal that mounts the top and then the bottom, so I had to make this contraption here just to get it to hold that battery in. And I think I have it too far forward as well, because I have this cable stretched plumb freaking tight, and I had to set this battery outside the tray just to make that positive reach. I think a lot of that's this alternator, honestly, where it goes to the alternator lead. So I don't know, may have to change those. We'll see when we get to it. But for right now, I'm gonna clean the garage and probably put this in the center bay, so that way I can get a real good look at it. Now that it's movable under its own power, I think all I really got to do is make sure I have a battery tray in there, but then connect the batteries and it should be ready to roll and move around the garage now. So that's cool. Oh yeah, like what I was saying a minute ago before I started rambling. I think I'm going to make my inner fender kind of similar to the orange truck. Basically, I just took some sheet metal and bent it up with a flat spot on top so I can set the batteries in, set the ABS module on it, and the fuse box and all that crap. So, fuse box is up here on this instead of in the back like the orange truck, but we can make it work. I think this thing like pops into that, I thought. I don't even remember. I might try to see, like I think it like click locks in there. I might use that piece of plastic and cut this thing all up, because I'd have to hack this off regardless, because that's going to be hanging out of my fender when the fender's on this thing. But yeah, man, this is an exciting day. Alright, I have this upper cross member where I'm happy with it now. When I pulled this outside yesterday, I noticed it wasn't fully straight, so it is now. So I cleaned it up pretty good, filled in the welds, got my radiator bolted to it, got this fully welded in. Had to grind some of it off because it's a little bit ugly. But I think this will be really good to build off of as far as my electric fans, core support, well, not core support, electric fans, transcooler, and condenser. That's what I was thinking of. It started with a C. Also have to mount this still. So, radiator's mounted. Just like the orange truck, not a whole lot of room. But at least this one has an intercooler. And I do intend to put air conditioning in this truck too. So I'll just go ahead and get that condenser put up here. I may just buy a second gen transcooler because it's going to bolt straight to this, and a condenser because it's going to bolt straight to that. So that's where we're at today. Tomorrow we're going to work on the things that go on the front of this, and I might actually tighten these bolts because this has been loose this whole time. The bottom of it has. You still pick it up a little bit. And then I never did finish welding this. I just added 3/4 in and only tacked the top corner of it, and I guess the bottom corner there. So that needs fully welded in. I had to add on to the back because it's just wide open still back here. Only did the, obviously where the frame curves, the gap is bigger back there than 3/4. So I have to make a new piece of metal, take all this crap apart. I'll probably put that factory inner fender back on and scab that passenger side fender together like I did the driver's side. So that way I have 2 of the red fenders. Now I'm wishing I didn't cut them, because as soon as I got them, I cut them at that diagonal angle, you know. But that would be a perfectly good fender if I didn't cut it. Well, other than the fact that it's torched, I guess. But yeah, here before long we will be working on fenders. Hopefully they will bolt straight to this thing the way I have it positioned. It's further out than the first go around with that 4th gen setup. I moved it further out That's where the 3/4 inches came from. I had to move it further out anyway because of this, and you can still see I had to cut it. But we're getting there. Yeah, I might try this setup. I'll just rebend it to put a bulkhead fitting through that. That'll be nice and pretty looking. Or go around it all together. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I like that. That looks nice. It's probably some of the fancier angles I've made.